The car has been raised up onto its ramps and the Gunson's Easy Bleed has turned up. I have removed the pedal box so I can get access to the reservoirs behind. Looking at the two cylinders, they are fairly old, and looking at the rubbers on the slave, certainly the one on the left, the brake one, looks like it's getting tired, and the other one also looks like it could do with changing. So I'm probably catching this at the right time. Well, I managed to get the old slave out. I haven't yet been able to remove the clevis pin. It appears to be solid in the clutch fork, so that's the thing I'm currently working on. But when I pulled out this slave, a lot of horrible black gunk fell out of it. Horrible, icky black gunk. So my guess is it's long since past its best. Yeah, I guess you could say that slave has ceased to function properly, looking at the mess in there. So the clevis pin that is in there, it just doesn't want to come out. I've tried WD-40. I'm going to keep trying that over the next few days. I've tried twisting it. I even tried tapping it with a hammer gently. And the next thing I'm going to do is have a go at heating it, letting it cool, heating it, letting it cool, to try to get that clevis pin out. I managed to get the master cylinder out. Took a little bit of doing. The tricky thing was the bottom nut that secures it to the pedal box. I had to use an angled spanner to get at that bottom nut. I dread to think how I'm going to get it back in again. The fluid that came out of it, very dirty indeed. Very dirty. So I had to use a variety of tooling, some orthodox, some unorthodox, to get these bits and pieces out. Plenty of WD-40 and a lot of patience with only occasional bits of swearing. So the master cylinder is back in now. Reasonably straightforward. A little tip I picked up from a website was to reverse these bolts, top and bottom, so the nuts are on this side. It's much easier to get them in and out. The bottom bolt you can lower down on a little piece of garden wire, slide it in the hole, and then tighten it up with a finger and the other hand. Very useful little tip that. Got that done nicely, and the brake line is reconnected at the back there. That went on quite nicely too. So far, so good. So the new slave is in place now, and I've managed to thread the new cable into the little fitting there. A little tip that I got from Mr. MGB GT guy on YouTube, to actually do it up at the slave first, and then you can use the slave as a sort of a screwdriver to screw that hose into that top nut. All I've got to do now is tighten those things up, and I still haven't been able to get the split pin out, so I've just put the push rod back in for now. Once it's all bled through, at least I should be able to get it to the garage for them just to sort out that clevis pin and push rod. Is the only thing which is the original bits and pieces now. Everything else has been changed. So it's all nicely snugged up now. The bolt that is just above the fitting is a 24mm bolt, and I used a very long socket extender all the way down from the top of the engine to tighten that bolt up, before I then put the copper pipe back on and screwed that down with a 7/16 spanner. So this is all nice and tight. The slave's all fitted in. Clutch master cylinder is all fitted in. As I said, I'm going to leave the clevis pin in, and the next stage will be to try to fill it with fluid and bleed it, see if I can get this thing to move. So the next stage is to connect up the Easy Bleed system. I'm going to connect it up to the clutch hydraulics, but I'm not going to put any fluid in. I'm just going to pressurize the system, and I'm going to listen for leaks at the unions. If I can't hear any leaks, I will then try to open the bleed valve on the slave, see if air comes out there, in which case all should be good to put fluid in and bleed it properly at a later date. So that initial check was delayed slightly because when I connected up the Easy Blade, this fitting here was leaking air. So I've had to put my own washers on it, because the washers that came with the kit, as far as I can see, are totally useless at stopping the pressure getting past that fitting. I checked for leaks, no leaks, and I checked the bleed. The air comes out of the bleed screw, so everything is looking good. Not going to do the bleeding today because I'm waiting for the other kit to turn up. So the original push rod and clevis pin are still there. I've just refitted the split pin in the bottom of it, and I'm just going to hope the system, once it's full of fluid, will have enough movement to operate the clutch. And this little fitting, I will get that attended to at a later date. It's beyond me to get it out safely. I think it needs somebody with a bit more kit and experience and access to this underside, which I don't have. The car is all covered up to try and protect the paintwork against the hydraulic fluid. I'm using a spare wheel for the supply of air this time. I'm going to keep the Gunson's bottle with the fluid in it inside this blue bucket so I can monitor what happens. And I've put loads of rags all down near that cap there. If it's going to leak anywhere, it's going to leak at that cap or at the top of this bottle. If I see any signs of that, I'll stop straight away. So the system is now pressurized and I'm not hearing any air escaping. So I'm going to go under the car and start to bleed this system through, get all the air out. I've bled it through. I've burped the slave. I've tried the clutch pedal. It feels much firmer and the travel on that push rod looks better. The proof of the pudding is going to be when I start the car and try and reverse it out of this garage, which I will do a little bit later today. I think we've done it. So there we are. I think we've accomplished what we needed to do, and if I'm lucky I won't have to look at this horrible thing for some considerable time.